Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video.
Welcome back, everybody. So today's Monday. It's time to update our view on the cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin in particular. So everybody now concerned with the new variant, as you know, Omicron, and it was really just miserable collapse on Friday in different markets across the board. So Bitcoin also has shown the reaction, but it was not as strong as, for example, in the stock market. But as you probably know, we have dedicated a lot of time to discussion of this topic in our two vehicle reports in the Forex market and gold market. And both times we have come to conclusion that market definitely was showing the emotional overreaction. Because the major word, the main word that we could describe the overall situation is uncertainty and the fear. So nothing else. So nobody knows what's the variant it is, what the consequences might be. So some countries already is running to close the borders to avoid more spreading of this virus in the countries. But I think that it's really minor measures. So poor measures hardly it will help in general. So but based on the market reaction, it seems that indeed it was some common psychological action, because, for example, take a look at the DAX index. It was closed on Friday here below the 15 even area, and now it's opening for the 400 points higher. So this is, well, very big gaps for daily chart. It's really very significant action. So markets gradually turning to the common sense, understanding that the virus is in general our current environment. We're living with that, whether we would like to or not, and it makes no sense to turn to the panic, and it's just new reality. So, and I think so that, well, market should return back to the overall situation that was standing before the announcement, more or less. Speaking on the Bitcoin, first of all, guys, I would like to announce the new report that we have prepared with the ForexPeaceArmy. Is November for Bitcoin fundamental analysis. This time it's minimum news, because we do not see something really outstanding currently, and we spend a lot of attention to sentiment analysis, and as usual bring some forecast from the big banks on the Bitcoin price. So news takes very small part, as I said, just 5-4 news here, and here we're starting with the sentiment. Lower, as usual, we provide few interest forecasts. For example, Goldman Sachs suggests that Ethereum hits 8,000 area by the year end. And here's the explanation why Goldman Sachs thinks so. There's also some forecasts from the JP Morgan concerning Bitcoin price, from the Bloomberg concerning the Bitcoin as well. So as usual, well, it's not really very significant report. So if you're interested with that, you could read it now at blog. You could find it here as blogs, Sive Morten blog, and you will find all the vehicle reports that we have for Bitcoin. This is the last one. Now let's take a look at the technical picture. So today we do not need the monthly chart because we have nothing interesting, but on the weekly we have the major pattern that we will use for building our short-term analysis. If you remember, we said that let's keep an eye on the performance here, because market could form the bullish grabber, and you can see it has been formed. What is more interesting is that the grabber is formed around confidence support area. This confidence support area has really special meaning for the Bitcoin, because the downside breakout, it will be significant hurt for bullish sentiment of the market. So normally the bullish market with this environment should not break so strong support areas. So it should stay above this level. So this level should be enough to hold retracement currently in this moment. And breaking of this level suggests further downward action on the Bitcoin in a longer term perspective. So this is two moments that makes this level very important. It means that for planning of the bullish trade, we need to focus on the grabber, where lows plays special role. As you understand, this is a validation point of this pattern and correspondingly of the bullish setup. But maybe it makes sense in the beginning of the trading to place stop below the confluence. It's a bit far, but it also suggests that maybe you do not need to try and jump in right now, and you could wait for a bit more deeper retracement. So you're back in the grabber body. So, but this choice is up to you. So if you place stops below the grabber, this will not be the mistake. But since we have right here a very strong level, it is logical to consider possible stop placing below it. Because currently, as you understand, the situation is really tricky with this new Orion. Everything, every day could be some news release, and you just could catch the emotional reaction, which in general will not destroy the overall bullish context. So we just could get the volatility around it, but the bullish context could still remain. And it will be a bit pity to be washed out with these emotional spikes. So moving stops somewhere below the strong support area, it's a bit more solid to hide there. Besides, if you plan here the Anjot predictor, you will see that here is also daily, weekly oversold area. So moving stops below the weekly oversold, it's all the better. So that's just few moments, few thoughts on the current situation. So once we know the major pattern, this actually overall reaction that we see here is the one that we were watching for. If you remember, we said let's keep watching for a confluence. Once market will hit it, we should get some patterns or bullish reaction that we could use for taking the long position. On the daily chart, we do not see something special, except a few things. First of all, take a look at the collapse here was relatively strong. And yes, market currently stands in the strong support, but potentially here we should get some pattern. Currently, market is forming also the bearish grabber. It's not the fact that we will get it, just today's session is open, and market could close above this line, so it could turn trend to the bullish on the daily chart. But also be aware of this grabber. That will be also not very good moment to consider possible patterns that might be formed here based on the grabber. Take a look. So you could easily recognize the possible head and shoulders. So that might be left shoulder, head, and that might be right shoulder on the fall time frame chart. That's one of the patterns that we could consider. But in general, to keep it simple, since we already have the pattern on the weekly, because this upward action is the weekly grabber, we could not wait for completion of the head and shoulders totally, but we could try to take the position on a retracement based on just on the head action, because this is also the pattern on the weekly chart. So that makes the overall process a bit more simple. So that's what we have on the daily. So here is a bit some few tricky things exist, and we should be aware of them. On the 4-hour time frame chart, I do not see something really special. So this is our former head and shoulders. Here we said that will be another drop down, because that was not the performance that head and shoulders should show. And indeed, once our guideless triple to sell has been completed, we've got drop back to the 53. Here is what 53.27. So very close to what we said. Now, as you can see, we have the thrusting action. This is great. So it's a thrusting action. It's the one that shows you that market shows significant reaction on the support, and maybe it could become the starting point of the upward action that we are watching for. Currently, we stand in horizon consolidation, or this slope consolidation, and of course, we would like to see it being broken later when the market will start upward action. Divergence also stands in place on the follow time frame chart. So everything here stands nice. We have lots of different bullish signs that's forming here, and well, we could try to use it. For position taking, as I said, few options exist. So you could wait for some larger pattern, as I said. This might be the head and shoulders. you could try to take a position based on the grabber itself. For that purpose, you could keep an eye on the fib levels, that stands for the smallest upward direction. And in the case of some ABCD patch and retracement back to the 5630, 55 area, 5520, these two levels, you could try to take the position. So in fact, this is an area that you could use for possessing yourself with the setup that we have on the weekly, if you also agree that maybe market is forming something bullish and it's ready for upward reaction, and if you're searching chance to go short, to go long. So that's actually what we have currently in the situation on the Bitcoin. It's a lot of information we have provided, so you need to just adopt it, and because a lot of scenarios here exist, and you need to choose what is more preferable to you personally. Well, and the most interesting currently will be how the news environment will be changed within the week with this new Omicron, and what reports we will get, what news we will get, and how market will react on it. But in general, based on the technical picture, it seems that market is forming some bullish background, and if we even will not get real upward continuation on the long-term chart, some deeper, stronger upward reaction probably could be formed.